Happy Memorial Day weekend. So I just saw Furiosa. Let's talk about it. So this is the fifth film in the Mad Max franchise. He's directed all 5 movies, but I believe the third movie he had a co-director. The first Mad Max film came out in 1979, starred Mel Gibson. Then you had a Mad Max film come out in 81 and then 85. Then jump 30 years later to 2015 and we get Mad Max Fury Road. That movie starred Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron in that movie played Furiosa. Now jump, 9 years later, and we have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, or whatever it is. And we have Anya Taylor-Joy playing Furiosa. So this is Furiosa's backstory. So this is a prequel to the 2015 film. That's a lot of words. But the question many of you are going to ask, and let's just get it out the way, do you need to watch any of the previous Mad Max films in order to understand what's happening here? No. This is set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland somewhere in Australia, and there's a lot of desert. There isn't a lot of greenery, abundance. Resources are limited, water, food, gas, oil, and you have these different, groups of people living in the wasteland, and nobody really likes anybody. So you have Chris Hemsworth, who's playing Dementis, and his, band of Greek motorcycle pirates. And they're basically scavengers. That's how they kind of came across to me. They don't really have anything of their own, so they're just kind of seeking to take what belongs to other people. And they kind of suck at it. They're not very resourceful. They don't steward these resources very well. And he's a bit of an idiot, kind of arrogant, kind of a rock star. Reminded me a little bit of Mick Jagger, if Mick Jagger worked out. Furiosa is from a place of abundance where there is greenery, there's fresh water, fresh food, fresh fruit, and all that jazz. And this is kind of a colony of mostly women. She's stolen from her place. Her mother goes after her, and her mother dies in the process of trying to save her, and she is held captive by Dementis, and then ends up with this dude who looks like the Predator, Immortan Joe. Movies like these, it takes me like 2 or 3 watches to catch people's names, but I know people's faces. Furiosa, bless her heart, she's just trying to survive, but she also wants revenge. Now, I only saw like half of Fury Road, but the parts that I did see, the parts that mattered, that make for good comparison here, this movie is much calmer. It's still intense. It's still, emotionally heavy, but it's much calmer. And I think it's because the mood of the movie really does match our main character. Not just that she has this very calm demeanor in the way she goes about life, the way she approaches people, even the way she approaches her greatest enemy. She's very calm, she's level-headed, she's rational. The movie kind of takes on that tone, but also she's a woman. So there's something a little more feminine about the anger in this movie, if that makes sense. I don't know, it's just something that I kind of noticed. I'm seeing an uptick in movies that are building themes around female autonomy, but we can talk about that another time. This movie is about 2.5 hours long, but it feels short. It moves so well. Honestly, I could have sat in there another hour, and that would have been Gucci. It's gory, messy, so much carnage. But there's something laid back about it where you can kind of just sit and relax and just chill and just be engaged with it. It's cinema. This is movie number 60 for me this year. That's movies I've seen in theaters and movies streaming. And this is right up there with Dune Part 2 in terms of cinematography. I imagine this is going to be very competitive for cinematography. Movie overall, it's fantastic. That was good. But the cinematography, the limited color palette, the way they were able to create, beautiful motion picture art with a very limited palette. Not everybody's skilled like that. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, not just in terms of capturing the landscape, the sand dunes, the rocks and whatnot, even the Citadel and then Gastown, the overall wasteland, even the green parts of the movie, but just down to hair and makeup, just the contrast, the way they focus so much on her eyes, and just really bringing us into the emotion in her eyes. Because Anya Taylor-Joy, funny enough, we don't see her. Now, Furiosa is throughout the movie, but we see a good chunk of her as a young girl. But we don't see Anya Taylor-Joy until almost the halfway point of the movie. And when we do see her, she doesn't speak a whole lot, but she says a lot with her face, which honestly makes her perfect for this kind of movie. For someone who doesn't speak a whole lot, but they need to say a lot with their face, oh, she's good at it. I've said this before about her. She has what I call a canvas face, almost blank. You can do whatever you want with her. You can mold her to be whatever it is you want to be. Like, literally, she has one of those faces that, you know, she's 50 years old one day and she could play someone much younger, because you could literally just kind of mold her face to be whatever it is you need to be. Bill Skarsgård is kind of like that in a way. I don't know. I'm just always impressed with her. I trust her. I know that whatever she does is going to be excellent. But she was perfect for this. Fantastic. Chris Hemsworth, my God. I've been watching this man on screen since 2011. Actually, no, before that. What, 2008, 2009? When did Star Trek come out? Because he was George Kirk. Been watching this man on screen for quite some time. He can act. He was magnificent. He was a rock star. He was funny and vulnerable and just demented. He was so three-dimensional. You could almost reach out and touch him. He was just a whole character. The way they complemented one another, because you had him who would not shut up, and then her who just, you know, was very calculated in the way she spoke. The opposite sides here, the way they almost completed one another. Oh, beautiful. But George Miller, he reminds me a bit, maybe it's backwards, but Quentin Tarantino has a knack for drawing out a scene and building tension that way by making a scene longer than it needs to be, and yet instead of it feeling like you're being kind of dragged through the mud, he's building tension, he's churning up emotion. George Miller does that. He drags out a scene longer than necessary. Like the scene when they're on Fury Road and they're under attack. Any other director would have cut that scene in half. It was a very long scene. Shout out to the stunt workers in this movie. This movie right here is why the Academy needs a category for stunt work. Because the stunt work was off the freaking chain. The choreography, the timing, the camera work, like all of that working together, plus the stunt coordinator. There's not enough recognition for stunt work in the industry. And honestly, movies like these, this is why. This is why they need their dues. This is why they need their flowers. But the scene when they're on Fury Road and how long that scene was, and it was a masterclass in timing and choreography and blocking and even writing. You know, to have something so long and drawn out and the audience is still engaged, still with it, we're not bored. I mean, expert. This was an epic tale of a movie. Reminds me a little bit of, you know, Greek mythology, Norse mythology. There's a little bit of the Trojan horse in this. I thought that was very clever, very cool. But this movie reads and moves like an epic, like Beowulf or The Odyssey. Perfect little summer opener though. I enjoyed that.